If everybody would please direct their eyes to this monitor.
Fi, it's up with your kids, Fi.
What?
Something's happened to your kids. We have to go back to the future.
I'm asexual.
Jesus Christ.
Look at her.
You mean all my cat? Oh no, that like fucking Ace Arrow is like the easiest fucking headcanon for Fi. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Kitty.
Let's go.
See, this is a time skip because you have gone through the AB game again.
I mean, technically it should be connected, but it's fine.
Looks like you're awake.
Did I sleepy sleep?
Is this the infirmary?
Why are we here?
Do you know what happened at the AB gate?
Kay and I went back to the infirmary, but...
We waited and waited, and the two of you never returned.
So we went to the warehouse to check on you.
We found you passed out in front of the AB rooms.
Kay and I hurried back here with you.
It's up because their consciousness left their body.
Makes sense.
I looked over at Fi and met her eyes. Do you remember what happened just now?
You mean what happened a long time ago?
Yeah. You got him pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I remember all right.
Fair.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
Yay, Aaron Fitzgerald is back.
It's Aaron Fitzgerald. Quark.
What am I? Chopped liver?
And Alice.
Alice.
Back among the conscious and not psychotic, huh?
Yeah, thanks. Grandpa told me what you did. Thanks for finding the medicine for us.
I love that little sprite for Quark.
It's so good.
No problem, all in a day's work. Although, I wouldn't mind a little
You're
swimsuit
talking
action,
to
Quark.
the child.
Quark.
Really grabbing at straws here, aren't you?
Come on, Quark.
Sigma.
Why, hey, I wasn't talking to Quark. That was an offer for Al. I mean, I don't know. She's already got her bazongas
I was
hanging
gonna
out.
say, if you had her crotch hanging out, maybe, but like, listen.
He's, Sigma, clearly an ass man.
It's true.
Now that you guys are awake, all we gotta do is open the number 9 door.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
Look at your bracelet.
Look at your life, look at your choices.
Oh.
It's just 10. I have 10 BP.
I've got 15 BP. That means I got 6 more points while I was out.
But how?
You've been asleep for more than 2 hours. We've played the AB game 3 times.
3 times?
Yes. Of course, the color and group assignments were shuffled around each time. But no matter who voted, everyone chose Ally.
It helps that Dio wasn't allowed to pick.
Yeah. Oh look, it's
Now
that
all
same
of us
menu
have
as last
enough
time.
to leave.
Yay, everybody's here.
I guess see
Everybody's here.
Dio's fucking limp ass hand.
Please, give me Dio's arm.
No.
Fair, we'll just leave him.
I was stunned. I was petrified to think of how I could ever live without you by my side. How had everyone cooperated long enough to raise all of their BP past 9? Was it because Akane hadn't been killed? Without a death to start things off, maybe we had been less suspicious of one another. Or could the bombs have something to do with it? We had all joined forces against Dio, and Fa and I had been able to disarm all of them. All of us had banded together against a common enemy and overcome a tremendous threat. Perhaps that had strengthened our bond. Which I had to admit, would be somewhat ironic. After all, Dio had planted the bombs to force all of us to work together against them. This must have been what Akane was talking about.
Haven't I told you death was unavoidable? Sacrifices had to be made.
Come on, let's go! Let's open the door and get out of here!
Wait. What about him? After some discussion, we decided to leave Dio behind.
Nice.
Alice was the only holdout. She'd complained about wanting to take him back to her superiors, but after I mentioned they'd come back to investigate, After we escaped and dealt with Dioden, she reluctantly complied.
All right, let's get going.
This is too easy.
What are you talking about? Talk about it. You did. You beat the game.
I mean,
This is gonna be like a 5-minute episode.
yeah, totes.
Oh no, 6 minutes. The credits. I forgot about them.
1 whole minute for the credits.
It's fine. Let's see. We're gonna slide in the closed envelope, and we're also gonna slide in
All the secret files.
The secret files in this episode. Everybody ready? I'm gonna open it.
Yes, just get on with it.
Everybody's so tired of him.
Yep.
Everybody else swallowed and nodded. I grabbed the lever and pulled it down.
The number 9, it will remain.
Alright, everybody. Let's move.
Yay.
I didn't need to tell them twice. The room inside was clearly a loading elevator. It looked sort of like a large plate on top of a huge pedestal. We ran to the center of the plate and turned around. The number 9 door stood wide open.
2, 1, 0. The number 9 door. The number this thank you as the game.
Hey, kitty.
Hi.
You did it. You beat the game.
Yeah, okay, listen.
I'm very proud of you, kitty.
Thank you.
You came all this way, and you did it.
I did it. I saved everyone except Dio, because fuck him. I mean, actually, I did save him. He didn't die.
Yeah.
So he should be grateful. He should be grateful when we left his sorry ass behind and didn't, like, kick his butt or something.
I wonder what lies
Looks like we did it.
Yes, we should keep moving.
Beyond the door was a wide hallway that ended in a very solid wall. To the left, we found a very familiar-looking door. We pushed it open and went in.
Hope we have enough suits for everybody.
I think so.
Yeah. Yep, 8.
There's
Yep.
8.
Couldn't have brought Dio anyway.
The pressure exchange chamber.
You know what this place is?
Yeah, sort of. This whole facility is pressurized, apparently. I think the idea is to keep the air outside and consequently the virus from getting inside. That meant that if we want to go out, we have to decompress so we match the outside air pressure. This room here is where you prepare for going into the actual pressure exchange room. You see all those suits along the wall? I figure we need to put those on and head to the decompression room downstairs.
Whoa! Hold on a minute. You're saying the air outside is full of that horrible virus?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Of course, according to Akane, we were already infected with Radical 6, so the whole room seemed a little pointless.
But pressurized air and all that.
Why? How did all this happen?
Did they?
No, that's not possible.
We've come this far. We can't turn back now. Let's go outside. There's no way to know what's really going on until we do.
All right.
No one else objected. We all donned the protective suits and headed downstairs to the decompression room. As soon as we were all inside, the process began. Through my helmet, I could hear the soft hiss of air being sucked out of the room. We stood there for several minutes waiting for the process to finish. At last it did, and we heard the door begin to open. Beyond it was another decompression chamber. We repeated the process 2 more times before we reached the final door and opened it.
Let's go.
The dead, bleak landscape wasn't a surprise for me. I had seen it before in another timeline. The others hadn't, however, and although I couldn't see their faces through the visors of their helmets, I heard more than a few gasps over the radio. For a few long moments, we just stood there, astonished.
Where the hell are we?
The desert, I guess?
I figured that out. I mean, which one?
I don't know, but I think I know what day it is. Look at the moon. It's red, right? That means today's the total lunar eclipse.
So?
Remember the astronomy magazine in the lounge? Well, the next eclipse like this was gonna be on December 31st, 2028. So...
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Are you suggesting we were sleeping for a week after we were abducted?
I think so.
Wherever we were must have been far away from any city. The air was cleaner than I'd ever seen it. And the stars, the sky was full of them. More stars than I had ever seen in my life. I could even spot the lazy arm of the Milky Way. But the most striking feature was the moon. It was blood red and massive, much bigger in fact than I remember it being. So much bigger. Then as I watched, a black spot began to move across its surface. It was hard to see details, but it looked circular. The spot continued to move across the moon, heading for the right edge. What's that?
The moon. Well, the moon's shadow, actually.
The moon's shadow? I frowned. That didn't make any sense.
Zero told me to stay quiet. I think he was worried I'd spill the beans on his operation. He said if I didn't toe the line, he wouldn't just kill me. He'd kill Quark, too. And I agreed, like an idiot. And brought Quark with me. Just so I could see her. Such an idiot. So, that being the case, might as well start with this. I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
What the hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
The sun. I know, the Earth.
That's Earth.
I knew it!
Yeah. It's not the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. And again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon, covering the sun.
What? No way. If that's the Earth, then where the hell are we?
On the moon!
Of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base. No way. No. You've got to be lying. How do you expect us to believe that? This can't be the moon.
Yeah. That's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
She picked up a rock and dropped it.
See? That looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way.
Luna?
You were right about the gravity in a way. I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but
Excuse me?
please just listen. Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Excelivir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well, Radical 6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed less than half speed.
Which cog?
As you said before,
Hmm.
the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the square root of the gravitational acceleration. Since the gravity is lower on the moon, that means the time increases. I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example. Say you drop an apple from a height of 4.9 meters. It will take
Math.
approximately 1 second to hit the ground. On the moon, however, that time would be 1 second times root 6, which would be approximately 2.45 seconds. I used 4.9 meters because it matches up with the acceleration of gravity nicely, but it could be anything. The gravity constant is, well, a constant. You could drop something from 10 centimeters or 10 meters and it would be the same. Does that make sense? So now we've established that on the moon, things fall root 6 times slower than they do on Earth. That being the case, what would happen if someone's brain slowed down by
Root of 1/6.
It would look like
2.45 seconds would feel like 1 second. 4.9 seconds would feel like 2. But it's not hypothetical. That's what's been happening to every one of us.
Wait, you're saying that's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity?
Are you sure you didn't notice anything? Think back.
Huh?
You and Sigmund Phi said something about it in the lounge. About how you felt weird.
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of floating. Like that?
Also, it would explain someone's ability to
jump super high and crazy.
It seemed insane, but what Luna said made sense. In fact, it explained Phi's apparently superhuman strength quite well. We did the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Fucking you may be wondering how I got here.
Yep.
Wait, this is crazy. That can't possibly be Earth out there. Look at it. I've seen photos of Earth and it's blue and green and beautiful. That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something. This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028. Today is January 27th.
In 29.
Ha ha ha, you're funny.
No.
Don't tell me. 30?
Still no.
Then just what year is this?
It's 74. 2074.
Jesus Christ.
Which would explain the age of Tenmyo.
Yeah, and June, but not Clover and Alice.
No, that's insane. That would mean we were abducted more than 45 years ago.
I don't blame you if you don't believe me, but it's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. That's just science. Nobody can change that.
But why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world.
The octopus man.
13th,
All 18 of them went
Oh,
up
fuck.
at the same time.
Oh, fuck.
explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
What? Why?
I suppose it started a few months before that.
Fucking Myrmidons.
The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing. And the point is, Radical 6 claimed its first victims there, then escaped. Didn't take long for it to spread to the rest of the world. Like Luna explained, the virus slows your brain down, but eventually, it also makes you kill yourself. Pretty soon, the bodies started to pile up.
Fuck.
Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics.
Classics.
For some, it was poison, or fire, or asphyxiation, or the noose. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth and that'd kill the virus off for good. On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 annihilation reactors.
Fuck.
Clutch.
Now the truth is, that's mostly just rumor. Nobody really
It could have also been like, I'm gonna kill myself and everyone.
Yeah, fair.
theories. I think that the bombers had already been infected, and when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan, even if it wasn't directly responsible. Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth. Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened. You ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got. The explosion threw a ton of crap up into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires. It blotted out the sun for 7 years. Plants withered. Animals died by the millions. The few humans who were left banded together to survive.
Hence why root beer was real expensive.
Eventually they were over, though. The sky cleared and the sun came back. Plants started blooming again, and the animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. Things weren't quite back to normal, though. It's been 45 years now, but there's still quite a bit of dust and ash in the air. That's what you're seeing. You know why a sun sets red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Temioji to lie to us. So we were standing on the moon, looking at Earth. It was 2074. But why? Why were we there? Why were we then? I was so lost in thought I barely noticed Phi's approach.
Sigma, I think I figured something out.
A window popped up on the inside of my helmet with Whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear. Yeah, what is it?
I figured out why there's an extra E.
An extra E? Oh, you mean the graffiti?
Yeah, the one on floor B.
Nice line.
I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
What's Anna say this time?
God damn it, Sigma! Knock it off! Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get the man on the moon rules the infinite time. See?
Yeah, I love when the man on the moon
6
rules the
keys to
infinite
get
time.
that. So they stuck an extra one in ninth.
The man on the moon rules the infinite time.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created thee to transport the consciousness.
So, what are you getting at?
God, you're slow. You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
Fuck.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you think they're going to send us back 45 years?
Yeah. I'd bet on it.
How? Oh, we're still alive.
So the ultimate purpose of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Temioji was talking
I
about?
think so.
That doesn't make sense, though.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we came from that same time period, before it actually. So why bring us here and then send us back?
So we are still alive.
Well, Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
Do you know where she is?
I've got an idea. Come on, think. Remember what she said when she gave you the key?
Tufui.
Tufui. Oh!
The grave in the... There was a grave in the
I
garden!
literally don't even remember that, honestly.
Yeah, it's next to that little thing you have to
Pond.
lie on, yeah.
Makes sense.
Are you... this is the final episode.
Yeah.
I can't cut this any shorter.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you, babe. How you doing, babe?
I predicted this.
What did you predict?
That like this was way in the future.
Hmm.
And we would have to go back
To the past?
to the past.
Well, come on. What are you waiting for? Let's go.
Oh, I bet Aerosys and Solar are having a... Oh, sorry, I was trying to hold your hand.
Oh.
I bet, like, Tamara, Wolfie, and Aerosys and Solar are having a fucking fun time right now.
Oh god.
We're turning around back to... Yeah, we fucking...
What are you doing? Did you forget something?
We want to go have a talk with somebody. Whom? You really need to spell it out. Jesus Christ. The person behind all this.
You mean Akane?
What?
I'll take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I'll tell you when we get there.
You remember?
If you please. I'm coming with you. You folks just said the magic word.
I'm going too then. So am I.
Hey, is this Akane you're talking about?
Fuck.
Yeah, you know her real well.
Wait, you're not... You're serious? What the hell is going on?
Alright, shut up, everybody. Just shut up. Come if you want to. We don't need to do a roll call. Jesus Christ. Once we get there, I kinda can explain everything. With that, we headed back through the airlock. I bet it takes like 15 minutes, and they're like,
Hopefully the door will stay open.
Oh, kitty.
Okay.
Are you having fun? Mm-hmm. You're all awake now, huh?
I ate a gummy which helped.
What about energy gummies? Like energy drinks, but they're gummies.
I
I think that actually exists, yeah. But how do you market it though? Because the energy drinks are like, big man, you're a big man with a big dick. Take this energy drink.
I guess the same as like the minute energies. It's like a quick fix. For people on the go.
Oh, there you go.
The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends. Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course. But the door on floor B...
Yeah. Thought we might be able to take the lift to it. And it looks like I was right.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah,
You mean
the grave.
The grave in the garden?
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't think she's buried there or anything. Chances are she's alive. Just in the grave. Anyway, let's move. To the garden.
To the garden.
Oh, I wish we had face cam on. I wish we had face cam on. I'm gonna get to enjoy it though, so.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare, game. I don't know what you could do to me, but don't you dare. Yes, the beautiful botanical garden.
Kitty's like.
Get to the fucking grave. Get to the fucking grave.
Oh, see, there was a little keyhole in it.
Is Akane really under here?
I think so.
What should we do? Are we gonna dig her out?
No. I don't think we'll have to do any of that. You see the keyhole in the grave? If I just insert this here,
In my penis.
I pull the key off my ankle and fit it into the hole. Oh no, never mind. I thought a car had arrived. I twisted it to the right until I heard something unlock. With a quiet grinding, the grave began to shift.
Nice. Low.
What is this? It doesn't look like a coffin.
I mean, it could.
Yeah, it's a treatment pod. Oh my god. It is, isn't it?
The glass on the cover had frost over it. Oh, had frosted over, making it opaque. We couldn't see whom or what or what
What's him?
wasn't it?
Whom or
Let's see
wham?
what's inside.
She grabbed
Number 0.
a hold
It's of course it's number
of the
0.
lever on the side of the pod.
Because she is 0.
No good. I think it's locked.
What?
What?
Ah.
Treatment pod TP00.
Treatment pod 00.
Treatment pod, double 0.
Yep.
Stage
ATM machine.
will be complete once stage
Automatic automatic teller machine.
Machine.
Auto teller. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Cold sleep.
What?
These pods can put people into cold sleep. It uses something called CIS to freeze human bodies without destroying their cells.
So, Ms. Akane's like an ice cube?
I think so.
We gotta wait till she melts?
It's Sigma inside of it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So how about you tell us your story while we wait, Kay? Specifically, why do you know Akane?
I remembered
What do you remember?
everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This
Like that
facility
magic
is a little
root
like
from
a
which
rhizome.
Excalibur is made.
Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon, and this is the 9th one.
Of course it's the 9th.
Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create...
He sounds an
the
awful
AB
lot like
project.
Crispin Freeman right now.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose
Yeah.
is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
Back 45 years, right?
Yes.
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
What do you
Let
mean?
me begin at the beginning. You might be thinking that Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this, but that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had. Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection
That's why
with
Jonathan
Radical
Blow
6
is so
was also a
powerful.
vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored,
Like the
we
sleech.
just had to
Yeah.
provide a life or death situation to launch your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Like a bullet from a slingshot.
The further you pull back, the farther it goes.
Wait, hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us?
Fair question.
Why did you bring
Oh,
us
we did
here?
it go?
And I'm fine, I'm just itchy.
That's simple. In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories. Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you. In a sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain.
Yeah, we're all confused.
Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
After being kidnapped, your bodies were sent to a facility under Akane's direction. You were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep. 4 months later, you arrived at this facility.
How many pots were there in this facility, Kitty?
I only saw 3. And there are 4 now.
The date
So,
you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029.
Oh god, one day
Your
after.
trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me we were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But why? What do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking. As I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's consciousnesses to the past. Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power. You understand? This is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bombs.
Huh? But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In another history, you were able to perform prime decomposition on the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing.
Much like how Lotus was the only one who could have hacked their system.
We were able to determine that Dio had planted the bombs. Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the bomb in this timeline.
Oh, that subtitle did not match what he said. He said the bomb instead of the detonation. Weird.
Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced to nothing more than so much space dust. This history exists because of your presence. Now, let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark.
Quark's like, I don't get it.
Simple. We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover.
Esper.
You are able to access the fourth dimension. Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a
Keep
message.
imagining his link shot just further pulling back.
Yep.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you. I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth. What kid would turn that down?
We didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, it headed straight for the moon. During the trip, Zero told me to keep quiet once we got there. I don't remember anything after we landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
Now, Dio, his real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember the ultimate purpose of the AB project is to change history and keep Radical 6 from being released? If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project. So, Dio was given two tasks. The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed. At least, not in that timeline. In other words, in that world, the project would have been stopped. If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan.
Blow up the base.
If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
Can I ask you something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though. May I proceed?
Can we? Can we not?
No one objected. We were all curious.
Excellent. That explains everyone, save two, Luna
Save two people.
and myself.
I mean,
Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility. But I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, who is Zero Senior?
You've already met him, Sigma. In another timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw a hologram. I still don't know who he is.
Stage 2 is complete. TP00 unlocking.
It looks like it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
Okay. Let's get started then. Ready?
Fi laid her hand on the lever and looked around us. I swallowed. Yeah, anytime.
All right.
10, 9.
3, 2, 1.
I mean, I guess we can't see Kay's face, so that's fine. Yeah, I was thinking.
What?
I was thinking it was either gonna be
Suddenly my
Sigma
head was full of memories from other timelines.
Or Zero Senior.
I'd seen something like this before. The warehouse of Floor B. In front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and saw my own face. I'd never figured out who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? It didn't make sense. After I'd seen him, I was injected with MistreKirin, and that was the end of that.
That was the end of that timeline.
But wait, if the person in the pod was the same person I had seen on the floor of the warehouse,
then who's the person in K? And who's that?
Who was wearing Kay's armor?
Is it June?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you.
What's the matter, Kitty? Why are you praising the sun?
He was a good boy the whole time!
No. Oh my god, you
Yes,
you are...
I am.
Akane Kurashiki.
Yeah, let's go! Let's fucking go! The best boy!
It's you, June. I mean, Akane from. But you're old.
Yes, that's correct. I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover. Or you, Junpei.
Junpei?
Akane, long time no see.
I could barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. It felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do not to collapse right then and there.
When? How long?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse?
Ah! She went in then.
But yeah, keep...
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
clip.
Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did at least.
And that explains why there's been no body
I
pop-up.
carried your bodies to the 3rd AB room, and then took Dio's to the 5th. After that, I went into the 1st room and borrowed Kay's armor.
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Yes.
Wait. That doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you. And then Luna took your body to the 6th room. You couldn't have been in Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this
Yeah, so...
one, I wasn't murdered by
This is
Dio.
the continuation of that
Yeah,
previous
You
one.
yeah,
saved
exactly.
me. It's just like Schrodinger's
So,
cat.
Kay hasn't all...
The cat was inside K all along.
Yeah, kinda wasn't always...
In
K.
K. Sometimes it was
Yeah,
Sigma.
or rather, it's actually like like, this is the timeline in which
Yeah.
Akane was inside of K.
Yeah.
Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
Your choices in the future affect the past. Oh my god.
Let's go.
What? No, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then?
Death mostly.
Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
Right.
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
What?
I've never seen him before.
Me either. Total stranger.
Hey, come on. What are you guys saying? Right over here. Same face.
Are you alright, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
When did I see what?
Huh? What? It didn't make any sense. Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
Don't you get it?
No.
You've jumped to the future from 45 years ago.
I looked around frantically. A pond. I ran to it and threw myself down onto my knees. Crawling on all fours, I approached the edge. My heart was hammering inside my chest. Actually, is that the car? Oh no, okay, I drove by. Okay. I thought you.
Oh wait.
Hey, just close the door. Just close the door.
Okay.
We'll give the viewers a second to fucking like go crazy.
I'm going crazy.
A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, damn it.
Sorry, Mike.
Struggled to take deep breaths. Then slowly, give me your hand. Slowly, I peered into the pond looking for my reflection. What?
I'm zero. I orchestrated my own plan.
You must have done a lot of drugs to look that old at age 21. You're still in college? This face.
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now. Zero, the mastermind of the AB project, is you.
Kitty, your mouth's like fucking hung agape. What? No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good.
I never saw our own face.
You never saw your own face. Even on the shot with like Lunas on your chest, you don't see it. Also, by the way, you can see that Zero Senior has like a gloved hand, which in fucking sci-fi terms means that that's a prosthetic hand. Which would explain why you have
robo arms, and I don't remember getting them.
Yeah, because
from 45 years in the future.
Yeah.
You will be.
Oh, sorry.
I'm no doctor.
A pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Climb. Your clone.
the password for the two-headed lion. When you read the password backwards, it says "I love climb."
That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself.
My son, who is me.
23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future. When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born,
Your mouth is like Kitty. Oh my god.
Baby K and Baby K.
Yeah, he was actually
a baby.
wearing armor.
kept his muscles and bones.
He grew strong.
Yeah.
He grew buff and swole.
You give him a big, strong neck so he could survive even getting run over by a car, like in heavy rain.
Yeah.
A strong neck.
Yeah.
He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
To prepare for being so strong.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place. I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body.
Booty.
And boobies.
Anima
Anime
is
boobies.
another word for the soul, or the consciousness.
Exactly what it
Body
says on the
is,
tin.
well, exactly what it says on the tin. The
Mind and
past
body.
consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person,
past
so that the futures in the future affect the past.
Found in the garden.
Oh,
You mean this, right?
is that literally the ones I'm about to say? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look at this! Look at this shit that.
Oh.
I'll let them explain.
Of course, it was you who investigated the garden
Huh.
in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
I see.
A is where everything began.
So we went to A to see.
Well, no. A is the Nevada test site.
A is where everything began.
December 25th, 2028.
Oh no, actually, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
The Nevada test
The
is
day
in
that
between
I was
those two.
abducted.
You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th,
2074.
2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped
We both
45 years
participated
into
in the
future.
game. Of course. How would you make sure the game worked if we weren't both in the game? Akane and Zero Senior.
I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out. Moving on, if you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th,
today.
2074. That is today.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact, Have you already forgotten? You were all infected.
Ah, right, it moves slower.
The virus slowed your brain down, so yes. 36 hours of real time have passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
Then what about our watches? Did you, like, speed them up, I guess?
The important part.
Slow them down.
Yeah.
After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened. The story does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body.
Being Zero Senior.
Yeah.
Until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is Sigma?
January 25th, 2074. According to what you just told us, it's 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
To the past.
Point A. December 25th, 2028. The day all of this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating.
Rotating? I suppose you could put it that way, but look at this illustration closely.
The lines are actually like
all these
drawn,
lines
yeah.
And untangle them. You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path with one exception.
The one spawning at E.
Yeah.
This line here at point E,
Exactly.
right?
Point
That
E
is
December
That day.
31st,
New Year's.
2028. The day of the
Of the
total
total
eclipse.
Test site.
the day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now, you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out. By jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point, so that we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon.
Soon?
Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the 4th dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
Haven't figured it out. I mean this.
Dio's knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Fie! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving towards Fi's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. Tu fui ego eris. What you are, I was. What you are, what I am, you will be.
We jumped.
Kitty?
We did it. We did it.
This?
Daisuke, oh no, he's popular.
This is a normal ending.
Fair.
You have gotten all of the files, which means that you are going to be rewarded
With the true ending.
with the well, the truer ending.
The truest ending.
The truest ending.
Yep, no face there.
You do not see his face, and since they put the good ABT thing on your arms,
You can't tell. He was a good boy inside all along. I knew it.
I mean, in one timeline.
No, even he was a good boy.
Say, look. Also, I guess there's one good note, I guess, because it actually learns something about Loon, I guess. Unless they literally just tell you now. No, I guess it must be one of the notes, okay.
Here's one useful gold note.
There's one useful good note.
Fair. Thanks for the music, bud. It was good music.
Yeah. Kitty? Before we make it to the ending.
Jesus Christ, these games.
See, another thing is that, like, just the stuff that playing with the genre, because you never see the Protect's face.
Yeah.
And honestly, you never see Junpei's face in the first game. You never see, or I mean, except for like some of the endings.
Some of the,
but you can feel that they were like, what if we just never show you the person's face? And you assume from the flashback and the cover of the box.
Yeah, and the title screen and all that shit.
Yeah. That
that's what you look like. Because there's no mirrors.
Mm-hmm. There actually is one mirror, but they never talk about it. There's one in the infirmary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like I almost feel like yeah. I mean, like when you start getting nitpicky about that, you can just be like, every reflective surface has to be like, every screen.
I mean, like they could have. We didn't explore the garden in this timeline, so I guess it's fine. Well, I mean, any timeline in which we explored the garden, we probably just didn't look at it. Oh, Connie.
That means that you are Kay's dad.
I am. Well, Kay. Yeah, Kay's my son, my good boy son.
Yeah.
That's
this is Fi's ending.
Jesus.
Yeah. What do you think I was telling you?
Time after time.
save whatever you want. Because since you have done all of the puzzles.
I did it. I
Kitty?
did it. I did it. I did it.
I mean,
That's fine. Fi and I are together. Of course, it's before all that.
Also, just to, you know.
Yeah, that's. It's fine.
Well, Kitty, where do you think this? I mean, you can just click on it and see.
This is gonna be April. Yeah, April 13th, 2029.
This is the day before the reactors, or the day when the reactors blow up.
Yep. But if everything goes according to plan, old self should have. My old consciousness should have.
Well, remember, as we have previously stated, you can't go back. Your old consciousness can't. Let the scene play. Give me your hand. Give me your gay-ass hand.
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't have any news to read. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now. But I'm out of tricks. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague. Goodbye.
Oh, fuck.
Man, I love Fox News.
Oof.
For a moment, I just stared at the TV. The roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room, until, with a click, it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? I heard footsteps behind me and turned around.
Ah!
You. Akane.
Looks like the first step was successful.
What the fuck? You killed me!
Killed?
Well, I guess technically you're going to kill me 45 years from now, but still.
Technicalities aside.
Hey, no need to be rude about it. I didn't kill you.
Hey, you... I'm not saying you weren't paying attention, but like, sneaky people would have noticed that there's a voice credit for Akane when she's 22 years old.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
I hit you with the butt of a knife. You're fine.
I'm okay.
Yes, you and Fi needed to experience a state of crisis. That was the only way.
Me and Fi?
Yes, I only told you about you, but we also needed Fi to jump. Now, you know what happens next, right?
When we go to the moon.
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029. We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9, along with 3 treatment pods.
Alice and Clover,
Yes.
right? What about the third one? Who's in there?
Fi, we put her into cold sleep 2 days ago. She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be frozen.
Oh.
That wasn't the Fi who had jumped from point C, though. It was Fi before she jumped from point A to point D. In other words, she was following the same path you are, and she still is.
Then that means that after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body.
Yes. The point C version of Fi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years, sleeping in ice.
Then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
Huh. So that's why she didn't look so old. Or old at all. So why don't you just stick me in one of those
You
pods?
can't do that.
Why not?
You haven't figured it out? You have to spend the next 45 years working on the AB project. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines. Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets. You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074. You will defrost Phi and carry her to the 3rd AB room. Once you've done that, the 22-year-old version of you from point A will force you out, and you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
That body.
This body right here.
And then I change history? Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting
You have
out?
to. If you don't, billions of people will die. Only you and Phi can save them.
What about you? Aren't you on Esper
I
too?
can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
So, what do I need to do?
What do you mean?
Like, what specific actions do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we going to do then?
Enter the Mars mission test site.
And after that?
I don't know.
What?
Sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there. We don't know how the Radical Six escaped. We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Crap. Then we're screwed.
That's why we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait. How do you know it's so dangerous?
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus. So, I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
Huh. What did I say?
The test facility is full of traps. There was one point. A woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake, and lost your arms and your right eye.
My arms and my right eye. What the hell? Suddenly, a low rumble shook the building. What was that?
Have a look.
I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. On the horizon I could see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly towards the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? No. That was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. Stared at the darkening skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed. This is not the true ending.
I was gonna say, this kind of leaves a lot of questions.
I mean, there's a third game.
Fair. Plus, also, why... my main question is, like, why do we need Phi? Is she how we don't fail in that test site?
Well, I guess there's something wrong with the game. Because you can't go any further up. I mean, so, I wonder. This is after Phi's ending. Give me your hand. Give me your gay-ass hand.
And then...
Where?
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
It's Kyle.
Kyle?
Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
I lurch upright, jumped off the bed and ran around to the other side of the partition. The mirror over the sink was covered with a film of dirt.
That's why.
I wiped it off with my sleeve and my reflection stared back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to...
Climb. So,
My son.
I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
An excellent question, one I didn't quite know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Klim was. In our timeline, he had been called K and had worn a suit of armor. He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he had worn it all his life.
Oh, baby.
Kyle had been born and raised in this lunar installation, which seemed to be called Rhymestone 9. Rather late in his life, Akane appeared as a mother figure, and he had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him. But even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Klim? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. The splitting image of Sigma Klim in his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio, still handcuffed. I turned back around to Luna.
What day is today?
January 27th, 2074.
Today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. This should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes.
Why am I here?
The doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the doctor is Sigma Klein, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
What about the others?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
Oh, right. Mr. Klein.
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Klein now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. Let's go northwest, he says. So they take the northwestern road. But about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body, just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living?
Of course.
Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories, friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something? Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness, even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just not going to accept that.
Pointing towards Quark.
You get it?
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
Is Kyle Mad Mercer? Wait, listen.
No, it's not going to happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past.
Now I can look up all the voice actors. That was not.
Maybe not, because CTD.
Well, only on.
Then that means we get to stay together? Good.
Thanks, kid.
I understand how you feel.
It could be Matt
Why
Mercer.
you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
That is totally Matt Mercer.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
There are so many fucking spoilers on this fucking screen.
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see him again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
You know who he is?
Who is it?
He's not Matt Mercer.
No point.
I was like, wow, he sounds like a boring-ass guy. Like the voice of some Call of Duty guy. It's Troy Baker.
Oh my lord. Troy Baker's in this game? Jesus.
Yeah.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Is he the voice of Nathan Drake?
Yeah. That's Nathan Drake.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
Of course, he is Dr. Klein now that his consciousness has returned.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
Fair.
And Akane?
Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore.
Jesus.
But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
Oh, he would never do that.
In
No.
the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we were completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand. But
Kinda sucks, though. I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
But we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago.
Even if it is for the greater good?
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different? How?
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have 2 Clovers and 2 Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How on earth does she plan to do that?
Schrodinger's?
Cat.
Oh, hey, Kyle. Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Sure.
Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell
Near
you.
dead.
However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but unfortunately, my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Oh, right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman or a merman or a wolfman. I'm not a Brahmin or Kamen or Ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question.
I love that
5 hours
sprite.
ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then you were in cold sleep, you wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there, frozen, until the time was right. Then on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out, even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AB room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out. And sending you back to December 25th.
I really wish I had like a pointer to be like, yeah, from here to here.
Yeah.
It really just, that diagram just needs like move, like and 2 arrows that move.
This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Fortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed. Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from Point E, you headed straight to Point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year. That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another
So that's not where
consciousness
Phi's story
entered your
begins.
body around that time from the future.
She went into the
This is
Nevada
version of
site
you
with
that
her.
left your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the 2 versions of you to swap places, and you moved 45 years into the future, where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything?
No, everything you talked about you got right.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 over c squared is the actual equation. Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed of light squared.
Okay.
That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2. You see what I'm saying?
No.
In most situations it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite understand.
She's saying that she's flying by the seat of her pants, I think.
No, that we're flying by the seat of our pants.
I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So is that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose?
Remember, that's the radio. That's the radio recording that you heard.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, everyone is dead.
Yeah, I remember that.
And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
You're about to go back to the past, right?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this? You know my past. Sigma's past.
I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Climb. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not. Think about it. Do you really believe you are Kyle? Or could you be someone else entirely?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
There's the question mark.
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much
something that I read today suddenly makes sense.
Oh.
He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here? I know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Climb's spare, but that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve, 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus. For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely necessary.
And that is why he created him?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
Correct.
There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
I have no idea what...
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too. You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help. Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past. Only you can save the world.
There's no way I...
Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028?
Well, yes, I do, but...
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality? Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine. Remember what I've told you. Only you can change history. Only you can save the world.
Me?
You!
Me. Me.
Wait. A certain point of view and...
Platty plays, let's go.
Virtue's last reward. Feel free to fucking save that shit, and I think...
Please light up a different color or something.
Oh, I don't know if that's true. I'm not gonna lie to you. No. Now, I think if you press B, I think you literally... Oh, no, here you go. This here is another time. Or, this is the actual ending of the game.
But wait. Just kidding. Oh.
I said this was a Two Towers. What? What's wrong? You're quiet. What's in your mind, babe?
Oh, no.
You finished the game.
I did. I mean, this next game we're gonna go save the world.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happened in that in that handful of days between Christmas Eve and Christmas and New Year's Eve, 2028.
I get to be Troy Baker.
I don't know.
Am I Troy Baker?
Dear viewers, this episode has gone on long enough, so you know what? We are gonna give you a bonus episode on the true final episode of Virtue's Last Reward. I will show Kitty something that is gonna blow her mind. We're gonna react to Kitty's closed envelope, and we're gonna do a quick read
of all the shitty
golden files that you did not get to.
That contain maybe one good thing, apparently.
I think there's one good thing, and it's about Luna, so you'll like it.
Yay.
For now, Kitty, leave the viewers with your thoughts, Kitty, on Virtue's Last Reward.
Only you can save the world.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
But I hate the world.
Okay, fuck it then. Burn the world. Sweet victory.
The real K was inside of us all. That's stupid.